Alright, how you doing today? We're going to look at doing a CSS3 solution to something I did with jQuery Masonry before, as far as organizing column layouts for a magazine spread. Say we did here all CSS3, a little bit of jQuery to change sizes, but as you can see we have a 2-4 spread, in other words 2 columns up top, 4 at the bottom on this page, and on the next page I have a 1 column and 3 column spread at the bottom. Pretty easy to do. The thing I did use jQuery for, like I said before, was when these shrink and say it's on a tablet, it then becomes, this one becomes a 2-3 spread. This one becomes a 1-2 spread. Like I said, that wasn't too bad to do actually. So let's look at the script right quick. Pretty simple. Set up a 4 column, and we tell it the column count, and we tell it the column gap or gutter, and we do it for both Mozilla and WebKit. So in other words, if you're using IE, you're out of luck. It's going to make 1 column for you. But there's a lot of things you can do with this. There's documentation out there. You can set up column rules where it puts a line in between each column. You could set up column size rather than column count, so that it'll automatically fill in the information. If say you have each of your columns as 200, but you have enough for 800 pixels worth of information, it will make 4 columns for you. That can be very nice. Because I wanted to have more control over, I set up individual column counts. The other thing that I would suggest that you do, let me jump down here, is I set up each of the columns, and each of the paragraphs is separated in its own P. Even though this is lorem ipsum, or just making some paragraphs, that way when you do get that singular column, it will still break it up into individual paragraphs. You'll get that little break in between, so it won't look so bad on IE. Still be very reasonable. The other thing I did is, as you can see, here's my column spread, my 4 column. I set these things up as what I call the 2-4 spread lower, or 2-4 spread L, and 2-4 spread U for 2-4 spread upper. Simply so, again, the top 2 are 2 columns, the bottom 4 are 4 columns. Now granted, I didn't have to give it its own class. The reason I did is so when I use jQuery, I won't change all 4 columns to a certain thing. I will only change the 2 columns in the 4 column spread to a 2 and 3, or a 1 and 3, or a 1 and 2. This way I could have finer control over how each page changes. Okay, I don't want it to just automatically change all 4 columns. I only want to change the 4 columns in the 2 column spread, or change the 2 columns in the 3 column spread. If you have the video I did before, you see I used, again, a little bit of jQuery. Look at the content size, my text container, and the default is at the top. Here's our 2-4 spread at the top. It's 2 columns. As the change happens in size, the 2-4 spread, keep it as a 2-4 for the upper, but for the lower, don't be 4 columns anymore. Now I want it to be 3 columns. Again, just so that we have those nice changes in between, and that flexibility between a tablet and a desktop. Other thing I did in here, and when I could find it, I can't remember where I found it, and I'm sorry because I had this script for a while, is I made it like a PowerPoint presentation, or a slideshow for lack of a better term, where I can click through it and each page appears individually, and when you click on the next one, then it jumps to the next page. That way I could stack 20 pages on there. I don't want to have to load up separate pages each time. Again, that was pretty simple. Oh, one other thing I should include, if you're putting an image in, if you put it in your individual column, it will actually contain it within that column, which can be very nice. That way it stays within a column. You won't have to worry about it breaking your columns. Alright, if you have any questions, drop me an email. I will put a link to this up with the recording, so if you want to pull it down and play with it yourself, have at it. And again, this is a great alternative to jQuery Masonry. You don't have to worry about interfering, say, with jQuery Mobile if you use it with it. Alright, hey, have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.